Did you know the same muscles that cause so many girls to get made fun of by being told they throw like a girl, like in a bad way, are the same muscles robbing them of power that they can generate at the plate? Because what girls actually struggle with more than boys, especially when they're young, is the strength in their upper back. And most parents have no idea that it's messing up their mechanics at the plate because nobody's testing for it. So in this video, I'm going to show you a test that we call the chicken wing test that you can run tonight to see if your daughter has this muscle instability issue, and an exercise you can add into her routine every time she trains that'll start to fix it. So the muscles we're talking about here are the muscles that hold the shoulder blade in place and on top of the back of the rib cage, which are some of the same muscles you would use to do a pull-up, right? And when it comes to upper back strength and stability, girls tend to struggle with this a lot more than boys, where the national average for how many pull-ups a girl can actually do across the country in the United States is 0, which is why it's important to check your daughter to make sure that she doesn't have instability in this area of her body too. And this is where the chicken wing test comes in, where what you want to do is have your daughter stand in front of you and raise up her arm while holding it straight up, and then watch what happens when she starts to bring it back down, where what you're wanting to look for is right here in the shoulder blade. Do you see that? Right at the bottom, her shoulder blade looks like a little chicken wing literally pops out of her back. Where if you look at her brother, it doesn't. Their scaps are stable, but hers is not being held close to her rib cage like it's supposed to. It's popping off. That's scapular instability. And if you're seeing that in your daughter too, that shoulder blade is not going to glide the way it's supposed to across the back of her rib cage. So when she throws or hits, she's going to make some compensations that are going to rob her of power. It's kind of like trying to fire a cannon from a canoe. Because the cannon's not bolted down to something solid, some of that energy that you're trying to send downrange gets sent in the wrong direction. And subconsciously, your daughter's brain knows this. It knows that their cannon is not bolted down. And so what they tend to do is something like this, where to find stability that they can't create in those scaps, they tuck their elbow into their rib cage before they swing. So that's when you'll see them drop their elbow, because that allows them to gain some sort of control. But the problem is that that doesn't look like this, where when you look at all of these Hall of Famers and former All-Star players, when their front foot hits the ground, all of their elbows are pulled back, like they're drawing a bow, about to fire an arrow. So you might be able to get her to stop dropping her elbow in practice, but in a game, her body is going to default to using a more stable movement that she can control because her brain is hardwired to protect itself from injury. Her body is literally choosing stability over power. And if you don't fix that instability, you're not just leaving power on the table, you're training her to leave it there permanently. So if your daughter fails that chicken wing test, here's one exercise we build into every single hitting routine that trains those scaps to hold that shoulder blade down. We call these alligator crawls. Where to do these, you want to start by finding something slippery, like a 1x1 piece of cardboard or anything slippery laying around, and have her place that under her feet. And then ask her to get into a push-up position, like in a high plank, with her feet still on that cardboard, and then tell her to act like a puppet master is controlling her, pulling up on her upper back so that it gets as high as she possibly can while still leaving her arms on the ground. Then hold it there while she alligator crawls 10 to 15 yards down the cage about 2 or 3 times as part of her warm-up before she ever starts hitting. And if you'll be consistent with exercises like that over the next 2 or 3 months, those shoulder blades are going to get a lot more stable, which makes it a lot easier to hit balls like this. Now, getting her scap stable is just step 1, because you also need to make sure that the 3 other critical movement patterns that tend to also be unstable in kids are working correctly too, because the scaps aren't the only thing robbing her of power. Which is why I show you exactly how in this video to screen her for instability in those other big 3 key movement patterns that we see kids getting unstable in all the time. So make sure you go watch this video to make sure those things aren't robbing her of power too.